Now, while politicians and businesses argue about the merits of the scheme, what do working parents think about it? I've been getting the views of a group of mums in Melbourne.
Look, I think it sounds positive, but again, there's always going to be loopholes, isn't there? I mean, we're not all going to be covered, are we?
And there is always trade-offs. From an initial point of view, from me personally, it appeals to me, but I know that it's not going to necessarily work for everyone, so...
It's a bit concerning in terms of pushing the liability onto businesses to pay for it. I think it could change the dynamic in employers wanting to hire women of a certain age, thinking, well, is she likely to be having maternity leave in a year's time?
I think it also doesn't benefit those women who haven't been able to re-enter the workforce between children.
That's right.
And so they're not getting that support then to either go back to work because, again, the employer might be thinking, well, is she going to have another one?
And I think that, look, they've said that it's pretty much benefiting the rich. That's the argument. But in the past, you've only ever been able to get minimum wage, so it is still rewarding those that might be earning more, but it's a bit more relative to everyone's salary.
On the issue though of getting back into the workforce as young women, how much of a challenge is that in terms of juggling these youngsters that we have with us?
I've been really lucky with my employer. He's been really flexible, but I know that that's just not the case. In other mums I talk to, it's a real struggle to try and get back into a job. If you've been out for a year or 2 years, I mean, you fall behind.
If I had to quit my job and if I wanted to stay home and raise my kids for a few years, if I wanted to then go and apply for a new job, I've got a big black hole in my resume. So there needs to be more support for women who want to re-enter the workforce after having a couple of years at home to raise their babies. If there was some incentive for employers to have mothers, to have women back after staying at home for a few years raising their babies.
That's what I was thinking.
To have incentive for a work experience, for casual shifts. If there was some sort of government subsidy in terms of
much like they do with apprentices as well. They trainees. Companies get subsidised and incentives bringing on apprentices.
In America, they have that with ex-convicts. So
yes,
they get employed. They get like subsidies by the government.
Actually, no, we're lower than
we're lower.
For someone like me who's trying to start up my own business at home, I mean, it would be fantastic to have some sort of monetary support to do that as well, because again, I'm not taking up a childcare space or asking for rebates for that.
That's right.
I'm doing the hours when the kids go to bed. It would be nice to have some money back to say, here you go, we're going to encourage you and support you through this. Here's some training or anything like that to just, get you started.
I agree. I never expected how hard it would be to A, be a mum, and B, to try and also maintain some sort of a career. Because they're both very important to me.
So how important is childcare for the three of you in terms of juggling motherhood and work?
Well, childcare's not an option for me. Like, I'm a shift worker and most of my shifts start at 4:30 in the morning. There is no childcare available at 4:30 in the morning, so we rely on my parents and my sisters a lot in terms of looking after the kids while we're at work. It'd be nice if there was a category of the carers allowance that would recognise that, unless I want to give up custody of my kids. There isn't.
Well, and I'm in the same position as you, Abby, and I feel like my mum is 55, so she's still working full time. She's not retired, so she's had to give up a day of work to help me out.
I have my little boy in 3 days and I'm very happy with childcare, and it works well for us. I hope A, it doesn't become means tested, and B, I would hate that they lower the threshold from 7.5. I think that would be hard. The other consideration was a nanny, and I think it would be great if nannies could be also counted for under that childcare rebate.
Like, I know through my site when I've asked mothers that is the number one thing is, well, who's going to look after my children if I want to go back to work? And it's this, question that the government needs to answer. Do they want us to be having children and sort of adding to this baby boom, or do they want us to be productive?
Yeah, that's right. They talk about
adding to the economy. I mean, they need to make a choice and they need to support us then.
What's your view as women about the political discourse that we've had?
I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed with the way it's been handled. I didn't like the way Julia Gillard was treated as a woman or a politician. And look, I'm not a fan of Tony Abbott, and I'll put it out there. I don't think he has women's rights at the forefront. But again, I'm not overly impressed with Kevin Rudd. I think what it will boil down to is that, in my mind, he's the lesser of two evils, and he'll get my vote. And that's really sad that, you know, neither party is inspiring me.
Yeah, look, I'm very disappointed, and more than anything, like many Australians, very embarrassed with the state of our government. So I'm looking to go Liberal, not because, again, it's that I'm particularly a fan of Tony Abbott, but I've had enough of Labor.
I think it's disappointing that it's so focused on the politics.
Yes.
And it's not on actually making a difference and saying, oh, we'll do this because this is the right thing to do. It's because people need, like the refugee debate, it's just been so dehumanised.
So do you think the big picture issues are being lost because of the kind of political debate we're having?
They're too busy trying to please everyone and stay in politics rather than doing what needs to be done.
I guess they're choosing the topics, the key triggers, I almost think they are, the key things that get people fired up. I think the faith in the both parties about what they deliver. I could say that sounds fantastic on paper, reads well, fantastic. Doesn't come to fruition if they get into party.
And I think it's terrifying, some of the promises they make without having anything to back it up.
That's right.
It just seems like, oh, you're going to give them $1 million, I'll give them $1 billion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
I'll find the money somewhere.
Exactly. I'll go higher. I'll raise you on that.
Yeah.
Girls, I think we've got a sense that your days are really hard to have a chat, just sitting around, even though that's what people think mums do. It's so nice of you to take the time. Thank you.
Thank you.